Hi everyone, it's Casey. It's been a while since I've done a customization video, but I'm getting ready to start on a new doll, and I wanted to talk about a couple things and talk to you about a new tool that I have. The other thing before I get started, I just want to mention that Blythe Con LA is coming up at the end of September, and I was planning on attending as just a attendee, just a regular person going. I did apply to be a vendor back when it opened for applications, but I wasn't selected, but I was put on the waiting list. And I found out about a week ago that I am going to get to be a vendor. So if you live in California, in LA, or if you can consider traveling from anywhere nearby, I will be there. I will have a table. I'm hoping to have a couple of dolls, which is why I'm working really hard right now on dolls. But I will also have a bunch of supplies, eye chips, other things. I'm also going to be teaching a demo class, making shoes. So if you're interested, head over to Blythe Con. I believe tickets are sold out, but if you join the Blythe Con group, there are people selling their tickets on there. So let me know if you need help with that. Otherwise, I will be in the LA area. If anyone wants to meet up with me at some point, let me know. So as far as what I want to show you today, I'm hoping to have a couple dolls done for the show. I have none as of right now, so I'm going to be working really hard over the next couple of weeks. This doll is one of the ones that I don't really like, but I got her for a great price. She is Rouge Noir. Her hair is very red. And I'm hoping to do kind of like a buck tooth look. I got these great glasses that I want her to wear, and I want her to have kind of like a nerdy look. I've tried this before and was not super happy with the results. If you remember back a couple years ago when I did the doll in the oven, that almost melted. So I'm going to try to kind of do that again, and I have a different strategy. So one of the things that I always do is look up photos of real faces making expressions, and then I try to copy them. But sometimes I can't find the right expressions, so what I do is I just use my laptop camera and I make the face myself and take a photo. It does, in general, help me with some reference points, so I did that with this one, and that's what I'm hoping to mimic. So the other thing I want to talk about is this file tool. So now I've talked about it before. This is my original file tool that I inherited from my stepdad before he passed away. He gave me a set, and they were called Die Sinker Riffler files. Seemed pretty self-explanatory. It's honestly the best tool I've ever found for working on these dolls. When I decided to expand my shop, I wanted to try to find this tool so that I could sell it to all of you. It turned out that there are tons and tons of different Riffler files, and a lot of them are not the same. They do not work. So I spent a lot of money and time ordering several that were not right. Finally, I found a seller on Etsy. Because the other thing is I did find a file that looked like it was right, but it was very expensive. It was like $30 to $40 for one file. So I found a seller on eBay selling the file that I thought would work, and I ordered everything they had left. Unfortunately, they were selling out and we're not going to be getting any more. So this is that file. I did have a small stock of them, which I'm now already sold out of. So again, I was on the hunt for this file at a wholesale price so that I could retail and sell it for you. I did finally find a place, and I ordered them from him, but they are slightly different. So now he has them manufactured. They are not the Swiss made ones that are really expensive. He actually has them manufactured. So I haven't really been able to give his file a real go yet. The things that I noticed right away is the very, very, very tip on his is not quite to the same point. I'm not quite sure if that's going to affect it too much. And as you can see, the end is shaped slightly different. So we're going to go ahead and play around with the new one, and I'm going to show you why it's great. And then if you're interested, I will have them available in my shop. They are available singly or as a customization kit, a carving kit. So you can find those. I'll put links below. But basically, the reason why this tool is so amazing, there are other file tools that come to a fine point like this, but in my experience, they break very easily, and I've heard from others that they break easily. So this Swiss-made one and my original one have the original one I've used for over 2 years now with a lot of force, and it still works great. The Swiss-made one also I used on my last doll and was fine. So these new ones I haven't really had enough time to play with. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of carving today with it and see how well it works, and hopefully this will be a wonderful place now for me to order these from, because I now have quite a few of them. I did a really large order from him, and I have him as a resource now. So the reason why this tool is amazing is because it really can get around those corners, and I use it for everything. So right now what I was going to show you is how I start with the lip line, and I think I've done this in other videos, but let's do it with this new tool. So I always use my pencil to kind of guide myself and give myself a few lines. So this doll is going to have basically no bottom lip because her teeth are going to sit on top of that lip, pulling it under, but she's going to have a prominent top lip. So I do like to first draw the line, and she's not going to be symmetrical. She's going to be a little bit off. So we'll see how that goes. But usually what I do is I draw the lines, and then right where the lines are, I start with my file, creating sort of a line there, removing the pencil and creating a line. I broke my wood carving tool that I use to do the upper lip, but it still seems to work. Probably not the safest, but I'm going to go ahead and remove this part. This doll, Rouge Noir, I have not looked her up. I don't really know. I'm assuming she's one of the Toys R Us dolls, because the last one I had like this was also a Toys R Us doll, and the plastic is slightly different. It's a bit harder. It does not carve the same. I don't really like it. I probably will try to avoid these dolls in the future. They make beautiful customs though. If you remember, one of my last dolls that I ended up doing a wig was one of these. I'm not going to do a wig on this doll. I'm going to leave her hair red. The main reason I did the wig on the other one was less because of the type of doll and more because I didn't like the hair on the original. Anyway, so let's get that out of there. So the other thing, this tool, it just gets in really fine places, and you can kind of make lines much more easily. So we'll come back and work on that. Right now we're just trying to create the shape of the lip. And I've kind of carved off this bottom lip. We're going to be getting rid of it completely, like I said. But as you can see, this type of file removes the plastic really quickly. It's very nice. And as far as around the nose, occasionally I try to enlarge the nose or change its shape. With this doll, I'm not really going to change anything, but I do like to use my Dremel before I start carving, so let me do that. I've started using my Dremel a lot more than I did in the beginning. I've mentioned in a lot of my videos to be very wary of a Dremel tool, and I still think that's true, especially if you're just starting out. But I do use it a lot more now because I attempt to remove a lot more plastic these days in areas like the chin, trying to make a real baby face look. So right now I'm going to do the nostrils, and when I do the nostrils, I do have a previous video about this if you want more detail, but I always sort of draw a hole and make sure it's about the same. And then I use this little Dremel tool bit. And let's do that. It's going to be a little bit loud, so I'm not going to talk while I do it, so just watch. So I like to have the holes, even if I'm going to change them later, just to get an idea of where they're going to be, so that as I'm carving, I don't carve anywhere that will mess up where they are. So yeah, I'm not going to show the whole process of this doll. I'll probably check in with it later. I just want to give you sort of a preview of this tool and let you know about it if you're interested. So some of the ways to use it really, the best is, especially if you put it, you don't want to carve with the tip. You want to kind of place the tip and then rotate the file so that it's flat against the surface. That way you are carving inside there where you want to get, but you're also carving this plastic around the nose, so that you kind of, the more plastic you remove around something, the more prominent you make that. So you want to kind of remove this part of the plastic. I will do a lot of that with the Dremel now. The other thing that's really helpful with this tool is in the lip line. So you can put it in there. I always bring my lip line out a little bit more than is natural, or not that is natural, is as the paint or the natural line of the doll. So this is really helpful for that, creating that line, which you'll also come back and do with your X-Acto. But as you can see, I can get it all the way out here. And one thing that I do that looks more natural is, so the line between the lips is going to be thin, not on this doll because I'm going to have teeth, but ordinarily. But in the corners of the mouth, you don't want a really thin line. So I always put that point there and sort of make that bigger by rotating the file back and forth, so it sort of enlarges the very end of the mouth. I hope that makes sense what I'm saying. And so let me do a little bit on this doll. I'll get her started and I'll come back and show you a little bit more of the progress and how I've been using the tool. But as you can see, that's making more of a line there. I will be right back.